It is Friday, February 28th in the year 2020. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan and Michael Wiseman. Here to talk about SmackDown Live, the fallout from Super Showdown. Matt, did you catch anything of yesterday's show in the Saudi Arabia? Did you read the news, the recaps, the reports?
Yeah, on YouTube. It showed like a couple of highlights. So, yeah, I'm up to date with what's happened.
Yeah, feelings. I turned it on literally and just caught the Goldberg Fiend match. Saw that and then was just like, F this. Like was just so glad I didn't waste my time watching that pay-per-view.
I mean, here's the thing. The fans are pissed off about that. You know, I like Bill. You know, I don't care how old he is. He's still in great shape and he is a credible champion. The problem is that it was at the Fiend's expense. Mm-hmm. Lightning in a bottle that this company is blessed to have even found. And so fans are really pissed about this. You can't continue to be part of the narrative and part of the formula that WWE thinks no matter what, you're always going to come back. I don't want to say don't watch wrestling, right? Because I'm a wrestler at heart. I always will be. And that's how everybody makes their money, all those wrestlers, right? You guys tuning in. But you got to do something. If you guys really don't like this, don't just be on Twitter. Go to these shows, not to pay money and contribute towards it. I don't mean it that way. I mean, let your voices be heard in the audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to be louder. Like tonight, I thought it would be way louder booing the decision to have Goldberg as their champion over Fiend. Do you know what I mean? So, like, You guys have voices. You got to figure out on how to display those voices properly so the company wakes the freak up.
I mean, they've had losing revenue for how many quarters now as far as live attendance sales goes? TV ratings have been dropping for how many years now? I think the thing for me that boggles my mind is they keep going to the well with these poor decisions and keep getting poor results, and they don't change their course of action. It was just a year ago and they were like...
Here's the problem. Tonight's rating will pop because Goldberg was on it and Cena was on it, and they will pat themselves on the back that this was the right decision. Unfortunately, one show with one popped rating, and it's even disputable what is considered a popped rating nowadays for them. It's not enough. One show's not enough. Two shows is not enough. And versus a steady stream of consistency of continuing to build. I don't even want to call them young talents because it's disrespectful to call someone like The Fiend a young upcoming talent nowadays. He's over. He's made it. He's done what he was supposed to do and then some. He did more than what this company was expecting him to do with that character. Again, lightning in the bottle handed to you on a silver platter. And you guys have completely botched it. Including how he's going into Mania versus Cena.
Good. I'm glad you called that out. I feel like we should almost talk about that first. I tweeted this. Matt, imagine you're watching a Friday the 13th movie and Jason Voorhees comes out in broad daylight and just sort of like points at his machete or murder cabin. His victim nods. It's like, okay, let's get this over with. Actually, that would be awesome in a Friday the 13th film, but it would not make Jason look cool. That is what you do when someone's no longer scary in their cartoon character.
Seriously, The Fiend, I've said this from day one, should not even know what the championship title is. He shouldn't give two bleeps about a championship. He's trying to murder people and eat their faces off. That's the way I think of The Fiend.
I thought about you tonight, Matt, whenever he pointed at the WrestleMania sign and how stupid this dude looks if you take him out of context as not being an actual monster, but just being a dude in an outfit pointing at a sign. That doesn't make any logical sense. And you're right, it demystifies him.
So, well, forget saying the rest of my sentence. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
No, I feel like he's on the road to Doink the Clownsville. Something about the way he looks.
He should not know what WrestleMania is.
I know.
He should not give a rat's bleep about WrestleMania at all, or the SmackDown program. None of it. It should just be somebody does something to piss in his Cheerios and piss him off enough to start making promos about them or obsess over them and do some crazy spooky crap that he does and then try to murder them. That's the way I look at The Fiend. That's the way we're supposed to look at The Fiend. He's not some dude who comes out on the ramp and points at WrestleMania signs.
I thought with the build-up and the Cena retrospective tonight of all those great Cena moments, I was waiting for Firefly Funhouse to
For
interrupt
sure.
John Cena
Yes,
with
100%.
Bray doing a greatest hits of
Yes.
mocking John Cena, doing
been
some new
awesome.
characters, Thugonomics,
Yep.
the spinner, all of it.
And they'll come back to it and they're like, well, see, we did it. Yeah, you did it a week too late. They're definitely going to have him rap. I will bet my house on it that they will have Bray Wyatt in a backstage segment, Firefly Funhouse, rapping. No question. It's going to happen and it's going to be awesome. Still, they missed the boat on doing it in this show. They should have cut him off, like you said, in his highlights on the Cena highlight reel. Perfect opening for the Firefly Funhouse. Also, an opportunity for him to shit on the title and be like, that belt? You think I gave a shit about that belt? I'm the Fiend. You know what I mean? Like, I could give two shits about that, that belt. Again, this is why they should never have put the title on him to begin with. He does not need it. And now it's brought him down. It tremendously brings him down.
Well, that's what Antoine Fair with Super Chat saying, don't be mad about the title switch. We should crap on them putting the title on him in the first place. Because whenever he lost it, this was going to happen.
I said this before they put the title on him. When it was announced he was wrestling Seth Rollins, I said, this is a terrible idea. The Fiend is higher up, which is crazy to say this, that any wrestler is more higher up than a world title. The Fiend was.
Yeah.
The other also kind of undermines John Cena's whole shtick out there tonight too, right? John Cena comes out and says, "I'm not going to wrestle at WrestleMania. I don't want to take time away from another talent." Blah 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 blah. And then immediately the Fiend comes out, points, and he's like, "Sure, we'll do it." Like, does John Cena not stick to his guns about something like this? He's going to take a main event match just like that, seconds after announcing that decision. Really, guys?
Well, maybe then maybe they should have made a story about that, about the Fiend trying to get John to. Yeah. Try to convince him into wrestling him. That would have been cool. And he could have been diabolical in how he did it. It would have been really good. But what do you do? There's like Jason Voorhees is on the ramp with a freaking machete. He's supposed to be like, nope, I'm not wrestling you. I don't know.
It's Michael McFarlane saying the Fiend doesn't point to signs.
He doesn't even know what signs are. Like, he should not know anything. Like, he should be oblivious to all of this because he's this magical, evil, diabolical son of Satan. That's how I think of him.
I think it's indicative of WWE's bigger problem with storytelling these days, and it kind of ties back into Roman Reigns and Goldberg as well, which is they just go out there and announce these matches, and they don't really give them a reason for being other than we wanted to put this match out there, right? Roman Reigns and Goldberg. I mean, yeah, I get Roman Reigns as a main eventer. He's beat Baron Corbin 15 times, but he didn't have to earn that spot, right? John Cena versus The Fiend. What's the logic there? Why is The Fiend challenging John Cena? I know The Fiend is illogical, right? But he just was like, this is the guy I want to go after the main event WrestleMania.
Actually, I would say that, Michael, to take a counterpoint, Bray Wyatt has great history with John Cena and losing to John Cena, being built up to have John Cena, take him out. I mean, I think this is his chance for revenge.
He remembers. He can throw that in his promos.
Well, I wish they would have shown that like Firefly Funhouse piece you mentioned earlier, Glenn, to address that and not because they treated the Fiend as though he is this other side, this other person, right?
Oh, and so Gecko Rob with the super chat saying Roman versus Goldberg and Fiend versus Cena. Not watching Mania. I'll just wait for the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Lewis 13 saying Goldberg versus Reignsberg for ESPN.
Definitely. Hang on. Let's stop for a second. Let's no more of those really quick for 2 seconds. Give me just 2 seconds. My ADD is terrible. I apologize. I did say, to be fair, that when Raj was, and you, I believe, were telling me like, hey, this could be these matches at WrestleMania. It could be Goldberg versus Roman and Cena versus The Fiend. I was like, holy crap, the WrestleMania is going to be pretty good because those are great matchups.
Yeah.
I just did not expect I didn't expect there to be a finish in Goldberg and Fiend. Somehow Fiend would have pulled his spooky magic crap and like set the arena on fire or something crazy like that to get himself out of Dodge, right? He doesn't drop the title. But now this completely changes things, and it sucks because those are 4 major stars. Those are headline acts. Raj kept saying, I don't feel any big main event matches here on WrestleMania, and boom, in one show we get Undertaker versus John Cena, Goldberg versus Reigns, and Cena versus The Fiend. Those are friggin' 3 insanely A+++ main event WrestleMania matches. We got to say that because it is, but huge but. It's coming at the expense of the most overact, in my opinion, this company has had in how many years now?
Yeah.
One star shouldn't be bigger than the others. I'm sorry, he was.
Yeah. And they're killing it. They've been killing it though.
I think I don't want to say it jumped the shark. I don't want to put that out in the universe, but I'm hoping something's able to happen with him because, man, this is what I was always scared of with the title. He did not need that damn title.
And in fact, I mean, to go really deep on this, they could have done a better version. And the match he had with AJ and the feud scene he had with AJ was amazing a few years ago. But Bray should have talked about, John, this is your reckoning for all the talent that's been fed to you, all the up-and-coming talent that you've overshadowed, that you've gone over on. Superman is going to finally meet his match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That would have been huge, and people would have, I think it would have erased yesterday.
It would have given a realistic vibe to it. We all would have bought that.
Yeah, but this like weird mutual respect they had with Cena doing the hat tip.
Right. That's again, they just literally had a match on the board, on the whiteboard in the back, or however they do it, right? Yeah. And they came out there and they announced it. They didn't give a reason for this match to be. And I know that we can read into it, Glenn, and we can say, well, they've had history in the past and blah, blah, blah. Here on SmackDown in 2020, there was not a reason for this match to exist, other than they wanted to put the Fiend and John Cena together.
Zook Enigma putting $4.99 to the super chat. Thank you, Zook. Zook's always a good listener and gets in on with us on Twitter and Thursday Pod every once in a while. But Zook's a good one, good fan of the show. He says they should have done a screw job finish with the Fiend. I agree, and have Bray attack the referee and disappear with him instead of the crap they had. I agree wholeheartedly, Zook. Your booking, you should write for the creative team now.
Jay Lane with a $5 super chat. Is anyone going to talk about how McIntyre had to beat 29 others to get a title shot, but Roman can walk right out and say 2 words? The Rumble is buried.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that because the Rumble's been buried to me for years, but he's right.
And Xavier Leon with $10 super chat. They should have had the Fiend go through the entire SmackDown roster, then have Roman go over him at WrestleMania. Title or no title, they should have done that instead of this crap. I mean, I get
it's a weird. Wasn't involved. I like these matchups better, to be honest.
Yeah,
I do. But unfortunately, the title was involved, and it hurt Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, the biggest star out of all of them, in my opinion.
Well, I think there's something interesting you could have done if the title was still on the Fiend, right? You think the title maybe doesn't need to be involved, and I agree with that. But if it was on the Fiend and John Cena actually came out and challenged the Fiend,
yeah, it's different.
Look, I mean, that's cool. That's
awesome. Why did they have to do this at all, though? Like, why couldn't? Like, look, the people that were going to pay all the money to go to Saudi Arabia to watch this, or that were from Saudi Arabia, I should say, to fill that stadium and watch that show or watch it on the network, still would have tuned in if it was Bill Goldberg versus Joe Blow. They would have, because Goldberg, it's Goldberg.
Every one of these shit, put him up there against Goldberg, right?
Unless it's leaving the network and they're going to try and get $40 or $50 out of us for ESPN Plus for WrestleMania.
What do you mean? I'm confused. What do you mean?
I think part of the reason why they're doing this is this rumor that they could.
I know why they're doing this.
Yeah.
But they could have. Bill Goldberg does not need to be your champion for you to advertise him on your show.
Look at AEW though. I think they're getting the wrong message from it and saying, "Well, Chris Jericho brings in a lot of names." I could see Vince saying, "Well, you know why AEW is working because Jericho is this huge legacy talent." I mean, I could see him.
Chris Jericho. No offense to Bill, I'm friends with Bill, but like. I mean, and I don't mean to disrespect him this way. I don't. But he's no Chris Jericho right now. Chris Jericho is, I would argue, damn near at the top of his game.
Yeah, I get the impression Vince McMahon makes a lot of decisions based on just his interpretation of things without getting the full picture.
Yeah.
He seems like one of those guys that trusts his gut to a fault. So let's start with Goldberg tonight. He came out, mixed reaction from the crowd, some chants. Talked about Michael Cole talked about how he defeated the Fiend at Super Showdown, and he said if he's not mistaken, it's not about who's last, it's about who's next.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns came out to a pop and got in, just said, "I'm next." Drop the mic.
Really quick. So this could be very, very good for Roman. This matchup. And it didn't hit me until I saw him come out. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. They're so pissed that Goldberg's your champion. They have to chant for Roman Reigns by default, finally. Like, Goldberg's the Roman Reigns right now. And Roman Reigns is not the Roman Reigns right now.
That also seems like a weird Vince thing. We'll find someone that they hate more.
So they did not do that on purpose. Trust me. They thought Goldberg would get over like gangbusters as champion. You know he thought that. But anyways, I hope, though, or it can go the other way, in which the fans are burnt out during WrestleMania. It's such a long night that they turn their backs on that match altogether and start to chant boring or something crazy like that. The way they can save this and make Roman really continue to rise him the right way is he's got to job Goldberg out in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Though, man, it'd be an interesting main event. Baby Maharaja, $5 super chat saying, unpopular opinion, but the Fiend Soul Act seems to have a short shelf life. It was entertaining for the Firefly Funhouse segments for a while. We've been saying that they haven't been changing it up and innovating. When's the last time he did something new with the Firefly Funhouse? I feel like since he's been champ, it's been the same thing.
He's a character like Undertaker, though. You don't put him out there every week. You don't put up Firefly Funhouse every week. I would put Firefly Funhouse out there once per month and maybe an appearance by him once a month before whatever pay-per-view was coming up, and then obviously the pay-per-view.
But think about back when this started. We had the Firefly Funhouse. We had him talking to children. Yeah. We had him doing like art lessons. We had characters. We had
it was weird at first. Like the reason it worked is because it was a zany other world.
Then there was the
nothing
Fiend.
Else.
Because here's why, you guys listen, is because now they're taking the Firefly Funhouse and it's all about who his opponent is that they continue to infuse into that segment. Before, it had nothing to do with opponents. It had to do about the background and the new layers to this character of his. So it would be him doing artwork. It would be him talking to the friggin' rabbit, us learning those characters, those puppets back there, and who this new character was that they were introducing to us. So they had to have him do character building acts during those segments for us to figure out who this guy now is, right? Now, unfortunately, they stopped doing that. And they just put like Cena will be in there now. It's been Roman. It's been all these different characters now that they insert in the Firefly Funhouse and make it just centric in the entire segment versus we want to see the other entertaining shit by him.
Well, and remember a couple of months ago, Ramblin' Rabbit was trying to tell Daniel Bryan the Fiend has a weakness, and apparently it's a half-assed jackhammer in the Saudi Arabian desert.
Yeah, that was damn near a snap suplex.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah. So, yes, Roman versus Goldberg at WrestleMania.
Riddle couldn't resist, could he? Riddle was all over that on Twitter.
Bayley versus Naomi. Bayley taking the mic, saying Naomi doesn't deserve to be there. She's going to introduce a future Grammy-winning artist. Out came Sasha Banks, distracted Naomi. Bayley attacked her to get things going. Banks watching from ringside. There was a DQ. They double-teamed Naomi, and then Lacey Evans came out, got turned into a tag match. Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Lacey Evans and Naomi. I think Sasha's looking, Matt.
Say who won?
Oh, Naomi and Lacey Evans won that.
Yeah. Sasha's
return. She lost.
She looked great. People are going to say, well, how would she come back and lose, right? Her team.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm team Lacey Evans. So, and you know, I thought she looked good tonight.
I almost wonder, but since Bayley took the pin here, if they break Sasha and Bayley up.
And do what?
I mean, it's a Mania match. I mean, that match has a spot on the card ready to go.
Haven't we seen it before? Like, do we?
Sasha versus Bayley? Not in years.
Really?
Not since
why do I think that
NXT,
they chased each other for like? Why do I think they chased each other on Raw for like an entire year? We were annoyed with it.
No, I think that was Charlotte, and wasn't that Charlotte?
No, it was those two. They were backstage in like each other's in each other's locker room, and they did this slow turn, super slow.
When they almost broke up and they went to like therapy together?
Yes.
So
it lasted for like 6 months. Don't you guys remember this? We were so annoyed with it.
I do. I just searched Sasha versus Bayley and I'm seeing YouTube results from February of 2018. So about 2 years ago, they had a match.
Really annoyed with it. It lasted, forget the match, like the build to this took forever.
Yeah.
I know why, because it was last year during WrestleMania season when everything was overshadowed by them trying to get the triple threat dealios sorted out.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And they didn't go anywhere with it. I think it was teased for last year at Mania.
Yeah, and then they came back as a tag team.
And then they used Nia Jax to interrupt it. Yep, that's how they broke that up. It was a really poorly done breakup.
They did at least a 6-month storyline.
They got to do something with this. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they go into.
I just want them to go separate ways. Just go your separate ways. Let Sasha go and be the damn mega star she is.
Yeah, but if Bayley's the champ,
that's coming to a screeching halt.
Yeah,
it's not.
So But who you put it? I mean, it's interesting they brought Lacey Evans back into this, the same way they brought Sasha Banks back, because you do the tag match here, but where do you spin this off? Both Naomi and Lacey Evans have both lost to Bayley in recent months. And so who's the next person in line for a women's championship match?
I don't see how you don't give it to one of them at Mania. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree.
Well, Elimination Chamber, we'll see what happens there. I don't even know. Is there... So there's not a SmackDown Elimination Chamber match for the women?
Yes, there are.
I see the Raw one announced, but they announced a tag team Elimination Chamber match, which we'll talk about that.
No, there is a women's Elimination Chamber match.
I know there's a Raw one, but is there a
SmackDown?
Okay, it's not on Wikipedia. That's why
I don't know why it's not. Wikipedia lie. Like, people make up stuff, put it in Wikipedia.
I don't think that's as easy to do
there again, or people are going to hit your page.
Okay. Google Mikey Wiseman, Sweet Child of Mine. I had a pretty good Wikipedia prank back in the day. Just saying.
Oh, good Lord. Jay Lane with the super chat saying Vince puts over Goldberg and Taker to prove to AEW they might have Jericho Mox, but they never get those types of legends. Yeah,
I'm the biggest AEW mark on this podcast. I say it every time. I'm very biased towards them. I like that show better. I say it all the time. With that said, Vince doesn't give two shits what's happening on AEW.
Yeah, probably not.
I know I know how he thinks. This is, I'm telling you right now, he does not care. Not yet. He needs to, but he doesn't. Not yet. He's that. Yes.
Kofi Kingston versus Robert Roode with Dolph Ziggler looking on. Big E out there as well. This was a good match. Robert Roode got the win, but this really set up Otis afterwards, lamenting backstage, thinking about Mandy Rose and Dolph Ziggler. Tucker came in, said sometimes the good guy doesn't get the girl. Sometimes Ziggler gets the girl. And next week they're going to get Otis back out in front of the WWE universe.
Mandy Rose is Michael Scotting. She was standing back there, standing at her TV, watching it.
I don't even care anymore about this.
Yeah, this whole thing was a big misstep. I mean,
a little layer for him. A big man getting sympathy is not a bad thing, but it's going to be short lived.
But I think he had it before. I mean, the audience already loved the guy. Like
they did, but they didn't have the air of him having the air of vulnerability in his storylines just yet. This adds to it. This is just a wrinkle in his character that you'll always remember, that this guy, is a fun-loving guy with a huge heart. Such babyface material. It really is good stuff. It's just got to move. This stuff sucks, but to be able to implant that seed in our heads when we think about him, next time he's selling in a match and getting the crap kicked out of him, you'll always remember, this is a good man. This is a good guy. We really love this guy.
Yeah.
I think this hurts Mandy Rose more than anything else, though. Like, in my opinion, she's the one that looks kind of like
she looks like such a heel.
Yeah. I think she looks kind of dumb. Like, she was there to be on a date, and then she sided with Dolph Ziggler.
We need a better explanation.
Right.
Like, sorry, you were late. I didn't think you were coming. So you just sat down with somebody else? None of us would do that.
Yeah.
Right, Glenn?
No, look, this whole thing. What?
Glenn's not paying attention.
You sit down with the
garage.
I was looking
and pay attention to our podcast.
I was looking at someone tweeting, our creative fans, our super creative fans who are so awesome. Christopher Davis put this together in the time we have been doing this show, and tweeted here.
I'm throwing my computer.
Saying from this to that with 1 point, the new finger point of doom, Bray Wyatt. From Jason Voorhees to Doink the Clown.
Yeah, man. It's hard to argue.
Look, I mean, this story, I think it's bad sitcom, not even good sitcom. Mm-hmm. It's just like a bad.
No, it is bad. I agree.
And it would have seemed at home maybe 30 years ago, 20 maybe if we're being really generous. What was that? Anyhow, the contract signing with Braun Strowman coming out with that new hairstyle.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I don't want to throw stones at a man that large.
That could eat.
Yes. But maybe some different product, something. I don't know. Anyhow,
that's what you get. $5 Great Clips discount. That's what you get.
Like Moose. It looks like a bad amount of Moose. Is Moose still even? Do they even still manufacture Moose? I haven't seen Moose in ages.
I have not seen it in ages either.
Yeah, you a gel guy, Matt, or a hair wax?
No, it's glue. Hair glue.
They do still make Moose, but I think it's more on like the women's hair products.
It's some like company called Schwarzenkoff or Schwarzkopf, the yellow tube.
Yeah.
One company's left. Vidal Sassoon's out of the Moose game, but Schwarzkopf is still in it.
It's a really weird name.
Yes. Anyhow, so this was supposed to be for Braun versus Shinsuke. Sami Zayn pulled some verbal trickery, and they signed a contract saying it's a 3-on-1 match, handicap match for the Intercontinental Championship at Elimination Chamber.
This is good for Braun. This gives him, for Elimination Chamber, not Mania, right?
Yeah, Elimination Chamber.
I thought originally it was for Mania. And I was like, all right, at least he'll look like a monster. That's okay with me at Mania. I would have done this at Mania.
Baby Maharaja with a super chat saying Bobby finally got his big win, but they should push him more. Stop pushing Corbin. Bobby hasn't gotten any single feud on the main roster aside from Dolph. I mean,
how did Bobby Roode? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Roode's one of those guys where, I mean, Matt, we see this all the time. It's like, hey, at least you're on TV. You're not EC3. Are they even still having him on the road, or is he just sitting at home? I don't even know what brand EC3 is on.
He's on Raw.
I don't either, but I know he's a hell of a freak. He's a really good talent.
No, he absolutely is. So at least
Bobby is a head. I'm sorry, Bobby, but I say it ad nauseum. He's a headline act.
Yep.
He's proven it already, and I don't know what they're doing with him.
His run in NXT was great. I'm sorry, Matt.
This one was good, right? But they've done so much stupid stuff with him. Hopefully, they get him back where he was, because that dude can carry the ball. He really can.
No, I agree. So this contract signing segment was great. Yeah, Sammy, I mean, this is very, very good role for him to be in.
He is. Is it just me, or does it seem like the other WWE superstars don't like him?
But I think that's the...
Is it a gimmick?
So if you listen to interviews with him or about him,
everyone says like something like kind of mean, like that he's annoying or something.
Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Matt? Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah.
So people seem to treat him, now Sami Zayn's favorite show ever is Seinfeld, but they treat him like he is a Larry David type who always points out these little things that annoy him, and these little idiosyncrasies like get on everyone's nerves.
I mean, I don't know. Like even Zack Ryder on his like wrestling action figure podcast, takes random shots at him. Like everything I've seen, like the wrestlers have their own podcasts from WWE, New Day. There's this random like just like shots at the kid out of left field, and they're all of the same vibe that he's annoying or something like that. Because for the life of me, guys, I've not been able to figure out how they're not doing more with him. Like I'm a fan. I love his work. I love him in the ring. I love him on the microphone, especially. I think he's more than a manager. So I'm happy he gets to wrestle again. But he's a good act, man. I don't care how he is backstage. I think he's awesome.
No, I agree. No, what was the story? It was on Jericho's podcast that they were on a bus ride across Europe. They're all in the same bus, and they look at a cemetery they're passing, and Sami Zayn says, how many people do you think die in the world every year? And someone goes to their phone to Google it, and he starts shouting at them, no Googling. I want your guess. Don't look it up. We're having a discussion. And just little things like that. He gets on people's nerves. But
see, I would have listened. I would have been like, okay, that's fair.
But I would have played. Yeah. I could see though where Matt years on the roster with the guy could be a bit much.
It is, and what's so instrumental. I've watched guys get over and have jobs for years. I.e., please see like Funaki and R-Truth in this situation after watching that special on him. Yeah. It's so important to have we always used to say the boys, man. I gotta say the boys and girls backstage love you and love to have you around. Eric Young is like that. Eric Young not only is a good talent in the ring, but he's like the funniest dude on the planet, especially backstage. He's great for a locker room. He always is making jokes. He's either making fun of himself, doing like self-deprecating stuff, or he's making you laugh at somebody else. He is hilarious. Hilarious. So when he had that his reality show that came out on the planet. Yeah. I could easily see that. People are like, how did he get his own show? Because the dude is entertaining as F. Like ask Eric Bischoff. They were so impressed by how entertaining that dude was. They never met him before, never heard of him. And they came to the company like that dude is because he is hilarious. But like he's an example of them. Those are the people you keep lifetime jobs. They generally keep them along because they make others happy. When you're on the road like that, overseas on a bus ride like that, You're not pissing people off. In fact, you're enhancing everyone's experience on a shitty day when you're tired and beat up, or maybe even injured and sore, or cranky, missing your family. It's important to have those guys and gals back there that bring people together and make you have fun and make you laugh. Super important.
No, I agree. That's huge for morale. Justin Cortinas with the super chat saying, kind of off topic, do you guys think the WWE will be around in the next 10 years with its current state?
Wow, Justin Cortinas, $4.99 super chat. That's a poof. I pray so. We need it to be, don't we?
Well, with this pay-per-view thing, that's going to be a big test. I think this could make things worse.
Explain.
Moving the pay-per-views back to pay-per-view. Because what little fans they have left comparatively, and remember 10 years ago they had twice the fan base they do now.
And the fan that they have now is used to paying $9.99 a month.
Exactly.
Ooh,
exactly.
Yeah.
So you take that out of the equation, and now you're testing it. $9.99 a month is a pretty good value.
Amazing
even
value.
Even with NXT going to USA, even with less original content.
The pay-per-views were on there.
Matt, I mean, honestly, dude, like, think about yesterday and the news about The Fiend losing. Think about tonight when SmackDown started. First off, I forgot SmackDown was on tonight. I was like having a late work night, working on my taxes. And for a second, I thought, you know what, maybe I'd prefer keeping to work on my taxes as opposed to watching SmackDown. That seemed more interesting to me. So imagine that Sunday night, this upcoming Sunday, there was a pay-per-view and you had to pay, let's even say $20 for it. You had to pay for it. Hard-earned money out of your pocket.
Here's the reason why they think they can. It's what I started the show off with. There's an old saying, it's not old, but all you fans have heard them say this, that we got to stop playing to the current, fans that we have today, because they're always going to be there, whether they're mad at us, happy with us, indifferent toward us. They're always going to watch. We're always going to get their money no matter what. We need to go out and get those mainstream fans that we've lost over the years. That's how they've talked. Okay, you've heard them talk like that many a time. It's a distant. Yeah. Maybe the stuttering gimmick. Maybe the stuttering gimmick was for a reason. I just got stuck there. But you know what I mean. They take the fans for granted in that manner, and it's disrespectful as hell. So this is how you guys not get back at them, but show them that you're not going to put up with the BS as far as the storylines go. You want to send a message when it comes time for buying pay-per-views each month. Don't be buying them.
So I think the only thing I would push back on with all this, because I agree 100%, going to a pay-per-view model, you're going to lose some fans, but they don't have to put every pay-per-view on pay-per-view, right? You do the big four, you do WrestleMania, Survivor Series, it's one of the big four, call it what it is, SummerSlam and Royal Rumble on there.
How much per year, though, is that going to cost you extra in addition to the network that you're already paying for the B pay-per-views?
Doesn't matter, because if you can convince fans who already subscribe to the network to keep subscribing for $10 a month for B-level pay-per-views, right? Elimination Chamber technically would be the one that could fill the gap there. You're going to keep that revenue. And fans will still, because casual fans come back into the fold for WrestleMania every year. For Mania, right. And so you would get a bump off of that, because people, by and large, they're not going to miss Mania. They might skip Survivor Series. They might skip Royal Rumble. But if you already have that base level of fan who's paying the $10 a month and you can't get any more money out of them, and you can get additional revenue for Mania, I always thought that was their mistake with the network. You never needed to pull Mania out of pay-per-view, right? And even SummerSlam, keep those two out there. I was
shocked that they were giving any pay-per-views away on that network, because I was good with $9.99 for watching Nitro reruns. I really was. I thought that was a steal at the time.
There's also the idea too, which is I think the fan base has shrunk as far as ratings on TV go, but they do get monster numbers on YouTube. I mean, just looking at the numbers from yesterday's Super Showdown, it's hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views in some cases for the big events that happen. So
how do they make money off that?
They sell ads on it. Number one, I mean,
they are selling ads on it. I've never watched it.
Well, they don't sell ads on it. They just do the typical YouTube ad revenue thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much money they're making, and I'm not saying it's going to offset, but they've also had some of their biggest TV deals of all time in the last 5 years. So, they kind of playing it both ways, and it's working for them revenue wise.
This is a mistake. I think this is a mistake for them.
Yeah, we shall see. So Daniel Bryan versus Curtis Axel in a surprisingly competitive match with Drew Gulak on commentary. Michael Cole referring to him as Drew Axel. They have to turn it into a bit at this point after multiple weeks in a row of not realizing who he is. But what'd you think of this match? I mean, Daniel Bryan won, but
Where
Curtis
did this
Axel.
come from, though? Where did this match show up from? I came in as it was going.
I don't know. What was the setup for this, Michael?
There wasn't much of a setup for this. It just kind of was announced that Daniel Bryan was going to be wrestling Curtis Axel. There was no Curtis Axel's not been on TV in how long?
No, but he's good. He's always been good. So
I mean, I might have missed it, but I didn't see the setup for this happen anywhere that I was watching.
This is why Daniel Bryan is such a damn good worker. And people are like, wow, he made Curtis Axel look. Curtis Axel's a good worker. Curtis Axel can go. I'm happy Daniel Bryan did all of that, though. He could have just gutted him alive and beaten him up in seconds, probably, or minutes, and give him no offense. You know, he's got that kind of juice there. That's why Daniel Bryan's the man, dude. I have so much respect for that dude.
Yeah. This was good. Axel can wrestle.
Surprisingly.
Sure. No, I know.
And I know we watch it and we're like, what the hell?
Not surprisingly. I'm sorry.
We're not emotionally invested in this character enough. Why are they putting him on our TV? Yes, that's fair. But the rest of him, he's watching this, and I've been in that spot before where you're going for a little bit and they bring you back and you're cold, right? But he's so damn good.
Yeah. Let me clarify that. I didn't mean surprisingly he can wrestle. I mean surprisingly we got to see him wrestle. That's what I was surprised. That's because he's got the genes for it. And I think it's all about Drew Gulak here, though, right? That's what they're setting up.
Oh my God, yes.
Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak will be great.
Good for Drew.
And good for Daniel Bryan for picking him out. You know, Daniel, I also believe that. I bet you he picked him out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I got to wrestle with him. I really do.
Weird.
DB.
WWE has two guys named Drew in the company. Drew McIntyre, Drew Gulak.
And?
Just a little strange. Drew's, I mean, not the most common name.
Is it really that strange?
Andrew's a pretty common name.
Yeah.
Okay. I bet you one of them loses it. And one becomes Gulak or McIntyre. McIntyre actually is pretty good on its own.
How many Johns are there? Is there any more than one John Cena? Is there any more?
John Morrison.
John Morrison.
Speaking of which, next was John Morrison and The Miz out talking some smack to the crowd before their match with the Usos tonight, where the Usos picked up a win.
Yeah.
And we did also have the announcement tonight. It's going to be a tag team elimination chamber match at Elimination Chamber with them defending their championships against, I lost count in the amount of tag teams that are going to be in this match.
Yeah, who cares about
Would it be six?
Listen, here's the problem. They fast forwarded and combined too many things in this segment.
There was a lot in this, yes.
They should have just made the announcement about upcoming what do you call it? Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Right. And then leave it at that. Let them cut their promo. Let them crap all over the fans and get their heat. They just are our new champions, you know? And instead they fast forward it by putting a meaningless win out there that they had to give up. I don't like it. I've been looking for Usos versus them for the longest. That's one of my dream tag matchups, actually.
Yeah.
And it would have been awesome at Mania.
Yeah.
Threw it away. They threw it away tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. With Morrison and The Miz, I get it. I think it works. Morrison is back over. It's weird for me to see The Miz in this tag team again. He seems
to me, Morrison was always the bigger star.
Well, yeah, and that's happened now. So I mean, Matt, it's kind of we talked about Sasha and Bayley. Bayley on her own had a chance of establishing herself. You bring Sasha back, and it's over.
It's not that big of a difference between the two. Come on, man. Miz is a former world champion.
Former WrestleMania main eventer.
Yeah.
I don't think this is weird.
Matt, do you think you're that guy in the social circle where it's like, if somebody's doing something, it's fine. It's like, oh, but if you pair me with Matt Morgan, not only is he genetically just this giant, but also Mr. Superstar. I'm just saying, it's got to be weird to be friends with somebody or associate with someone that, whenever you're with them, you're like, well, I'm good, but you put me with them, and I just look like crap by comparison.
What is your comparison to this, though, Glenn? I really The Miz is legitimate. Legitimate star,
but he's a sidekick with John Morrison because John Morrison has that swagger. Bayley is a star. You put her with Sasha, she's a sidekick. So Matt, there are people in your life that probably have a pretty good self-esteem, but when they hang out with you, they're the sidekick all of a sudden compared to you.
Usually, I suck all the testosterone out of the room. For instance, I did a mayor's address Seminole County. That's our county we live in. We had like the state of the Seminole County luncheon, right? And each mayor, there's I believe 6 of us, had to get up and give our state of our city. We had like a minute and a half to give it, right? And I just kept going. And people were saying like, well, I'm not taking the mic from him. Are you? I'm not. And then like the next mayor to get up, he was like, crap, I got to speak after that. So like, there's that element thing, whatever I don't know what that is, but that thing, or height jokes, right?
Yeah.
Like, can I borrow your foot? Can I borrow your foot?
I don't see the Miz as a sidekick in this duo at all. I could not disagree more. He gets the microphone every week.
Spoken like a true sidekick, Michael.
Hey, I'll take it.
Not the bigger star between.
I'll take it.
I like to hang out with people I overshadow. That's what I'm looking for in life.
But if you look at the Miz here, okay, I'm cool with it. You got to know your spot in life, and you walk with it. That's my opinion on things. No, you take the Miz here. He's on TV. He's out there every week doing his thing.
Did you hear Glenn? Glenn said he likes to hang out with people he overshadows.
I don't know if that's some kind of like, hey, I'm getting ready to get like, I'm going to hold back on the joke that I was going to make because that would have been mean. I don't want to make.
Well, why do you have to go there all of a sudden? Wow.
I know. Weird. I don't know why, Glenn. I don't know why.
No, I'm kidding to an extent.
Bring out the worst of me, man.
But I'm just saying, but wrestling though, Matt, I mean, to bring this back around, you could speak to this, having performed it, it's like politics too. It's no reference to Roman Reigns, but it's a big dog atmosphere. You want to be the guy, you want to be the best, you want to be Mr. Charisma, the one all the eyes are on, the one everyone's paying attention to. So if you hang out with somebody that kind of makes you look like, Robin to their Batman,
right,
that could be a little weird because in the pecking order, you go down.
In a competitive environment where you're being compared to that person, yes. But when we're with your friends, that's not supposed to be happening. When you're just hanging out on the street or something like that with your buddies shooting hoops, and just BSing around, drinking a beer or whatever, nobody's driving by and doing that and going, well, wait a minute, those two dudes are friends, but that's the cooler one between the two. No one's doing that.
That's like a weird sitcom plot. That's like I don't want to hang out with that guy. I swear he writes his material. No one is naturally that funny. Always having to be the funniest one in the group. Wayne Montgomery with dropping some facts with the super chat. It's New Day versus Heavy Machinery versus Rude and Dolph versus the Usos versus Miz and Morrison for the title at Chamber. So yeah, that'll be a hell of a match. Matt, would you want to spend all that time in your Elimination Chamber pod with your tag team partner? That is a very enclosed space.
Is that how they do it?
They're in the pod, right? So they get released.
I don't recall seeing a tag elimination chamber.
They did it with the women.
I don't remember for some reason. Oh well. Yeah. I wouldn't care. Whatever.
Tight spaces, man.
I'd be indifferent to it.
For you, every space is like a tight space.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so the Usos won that tonight. Yeah, it was weird that they won the championship yesterday, Miz and Morrison, losing tonight to the Usos.
I don't get it.
So John Cena came out to the ring tonight. Huge pop, huge entrance. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen him in almost a year in WWE programming. And this was kind of weird. Came out to give this big speech saying essentially he didn't think he deserved to be on WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
And that he was going to peace out. And that was it. Good seeing y'all. Just came to show up to say, I don't deserve to be on WrestleMania. See y'all next year. Go watch Fast and the Furious in theaters this May.
It makes him look like a baby face. It does explain him doing exactly what he used to criticize The Rock for doing and others doing, leaving WWE and making movies, but then coming back at Mania for the payday. He's doing the same damn thing. So he does have to explain that within his character because his character has been against that and rallied against that type in the past with others doing it.
Yeah.
So I was okay. I was okay with it. I was.
Well, so he was leaving, and then, of course, everything gets shut down. The lights go off, and then when the lights go back on, the Fiend is standing there in broad daylight behind John Cena, looking scared, showing us those multi-million-dollar acting chops he has that are opening movies multiple times a year. The Fiend behind him. The Fiend points to the WrestleMania sign.
By the way, when he was doing that, when Cena was sitting there doing this and then going, I swear to God, I was like, we're getting a legit action star technically who's playing this part. Is he good?
He's no Batista. Batista's legitimately a good actor.
Batista's legitimately a good straight man to somebody else's making the comedy around him. He's a very good straight man.
Even that new movie, The Spy, when he's in, that looks funny.
Yeah.
That looks really funny.
It is. Did you see the, what do you call it one? Come on.
Oh, Stuber? No, I have not seen that.
That was pretty
that
funny.
one. Was it good?
It wasn't terrible. I thought it was going to be terrible, but it was okay. It was pretty funny. He plays a similar role in what he does in that other one that you see being advertised right now in movie theaters, where he plays again a really good straight man, which they totally took from his not Avengers, what's it called?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy character. He was
amazing.
He just has to say one or two of these one-liners, and his timing, his facials, everything on it is perfectly spot on.
Well, Batista was really smart where he didn't just tap into a star power. He picked a lot of really smart roles to challenge himself with every step of the way. He's talked a lot about that, right? Where he didn't pick the muscle man roles or the army dude roles or whatever else. He was very intentional about doing Blade Runner, about doing everything he did between.
What has he played? But I've missed that he doesn't play the big jack dude.
Well, he's always a jack dude because that's who he is. But like he did Blade Runner was one of those key roles.
James Bond.
Yeah, he did James Bond, which James Bond was the big
muscle, I'm sure, right?
That he was the big muscle in that without much of a line. But then he's doing you mentioned Stuber.
Stuber was really good.
He did a movie called Bushwick, which I don't know a whole lot about.
I downloaded that. I've been meaning to watch that. It actually sounds really interesting.
He did Hotel Artemis, which is a little bit of a different kind of movie for that person, right? It's
Wow. Doing Escape Plan sequels. So, yeah, he's done some different. I mean, he's done a lot of what you would expect. He was in the new Kickboxer, reboot as the bad guy.
How's he done? Wow, he's done a lot of movies.
He has done a surprising amount. But I think with Cena though, I thought Blockers was really funny. I thought he was okay in Bumblebee.
Yes, he was very good in Blockers.
Yeah.
But yeah, with him looking scared tonight, it was funny, Matt, to your point, where I was just kind of like it was just a little. He almost looked like a jacked version of Ernest. From like the Ernest Scared Stupid movies.
With a closet full of the same exact outfit. Yes.
Yeah, but especially with his longer hair, right? And as his face ages a little more, he looks like a jacked Ernest. But the Fiend pointing
Ernest
at the sign,
was really over for the record.
He was. Yeah.
I watched Ernest Goes to Jail
I watched every one of them
months ago.
Oh, okay.
Ernest Goes to Jail actually legitimately, I'm surprised. This is actually a legitimately funny, interesting movie because he plays two roles. He plays the convict and the good guy. And I was like, he can really act.
Yeah, he could.
Yes. And he was like a classically trained actor. And he has not an Ernest podcast, although hell of a spinoff. We watch the Ernest movies one by one and talk about them. Anyhow, so with Cena tonight, okay, the Fiend pointing at the sign was bad enough, but then Cena turning, looking at him and tipping his cap in a sign of respect. Like this is so dumb. He had
to give an answer that he accepts. They had to get that in, leaving tonight's show and going home. That Fiend is challenging him. Cena accepts. For whatever reason, they had to get that in their heads. So that's the only reason John did that. I'm not defending it. It was corny as hell. And it's not something you should be doing with a murderer feet away from you.
I'm just glad we've gotten to the point where the Fiend now is asking for matches instead of attacking his opponents. Like, I think that's a good evolution for him. He's like,
so Matt,
that was good, Michael.
Speaking of Ernest, imagine the Fiend points at the side. John Cena gets a scared look, turns around to look. What, me? Like, and then like just runs off, and the Benny Hill music starts playing with the Fiend chasing him.
And you know what pisses me off here the most, though? It was that stupid camera work. They literally sat there on John Cena. They had the Fiend behind him, right? And it's the thing that really does bother me about WWE's broadcast. Watch New Japan, watch AEW. They follow what's happening. But with WWE, everything is so produced sometimes that we all knew the Fiend was standing back there, but the damn cameraman wouldn't show it to us. And the cameraman isn't there to tell the story. The cameraman is there to capture the action because it is a quote-unquote sporting event, right?
If you want to dissect it that much, yes.
Yeah, I do. Correct. I dissected that much.
No, I'm not saying anything wrong for that, by the way. Many people will say the same thing you just said. I at times too. But for me, it added to it a little bit. The only thing that didn't add to it is that the fans already saw him out there in the arena. So, there was no, with the rest of us, as they're coming, the camera pans in and you see him standing there behind him over his shoulder. It was a missed opportunity for that monster pop that he normally gets.
Yeah. So I have to find a way to get this on the screen. Bray Wyatt just responded to a tweet. Someone tweeted out, "You booked your brand new tag champs to lose clean in a non-title match. Are they trying to completely destroy their characters?" To which Bray Wyatt responded, "Yes."
He responded to a tweet that had nothing to do with him.
Yeah, it was about the Usos losing, or about the Miz and Morrison losing to the Usos tonight. Bray responded, "Yeah, they're trying to destroy the characters."
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, Bray is such a creative guy, and that's the frustration. It's about what you're saying. I don't want to say jump the shark, but I feel like here's what it is. Bray was doing, and we heard about this, right? Justin LeBar confirmed it. They shot these things independently. Bray had complete control at first. They shot a bunch of them. Then once it took off, Vince got involved. Bruce Pritchard got involved. Heyman got involved. All these people coming and saying, "Bray, you're doing great, but we're going to help you take it to the next level, kid." And they've driven it right off a cliff.
Do you remember Zack Ryder's ascension back in, what was that, 2011, 2012?
Yeah,
and he made himself a star.
Yes, he did.
And they took it away from him and said, "Okay, we're going to do this with you." And they murdered it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they made him stop doing it.
Yep.
Like, what? What? So don't give me these BS speeches about grabbing the brass ring.
Yep. Because
it's a manufactured brass ring that you're giving stepping ladders to certain people that you want to go grab it. It is not what it once was back in the day, where it was a free-for-all, and whoever the best man or best woman was that grabbed it, meaning they got over. And we've seen it time and time again. Becky was one.
Yeah.
We're talking about right now. What's his name? Bray Wyatt's one. Back in the day, I would argue Zach, like you just said, we've seen so many people grab these damn like CM Punk big time. So many others have done this.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan definitely did. And they continue to, ignore it. They've got to stop ignoring the fans.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's just
You can't
tough.
keep doing that. You can't keep doing that. That's what's different about this business, and you can't compare it to another TV show. You can't even compare it to another sport. This is its own entity. I'm surprised they're making this mistake, because this is the one entity in which the fans and the people that pay for this stuff are 100%. They matter. They matter more than anything, as far as your formula on dictating if you're doing well or not. Because if they're happy with the product, everything else will take care of itself. You have higher ratings, you have better house show numbers, you have better pay-per-view numbers, you name it. You think there's a big deal ESPN's coming? Why aren't even more people coming for your company and wanting in on it? They should be. And if you listen to your fans, more times than not, you're going to get to the right way. They did it back in the day and it worked. I just don't get why they don't go back to doing that. You don't have to have a WCW juggernaut competition beating your ass for you to be creative. It helps, but you don't have to have that. If you're listening to your fans, it should be, you should be able to take care of itself, but they don't.
It's because I think this day and age, the mindset is no star is bigger than the brand, right?
Yes.
The WWE logo is the biggest thing. And Vince McMahon has said that. He said nobody will be bigger, and he will not let a star get bigger than him, right? Or in his company. And he says if a star does get bigger and they can have WWE over a barrel, they should use it. Like, he has that mentality, which is, I get it, right? But it does hurt star value.
It does, and it's paint by numbers, and everybody's interchangeable. That's not good. I never thought of Hulk Hogan like that. Never thought of Ultimate Warrior like that, who actually did have them over barrel in the past. But seriously, did we ever think about our favorite stars when we were kids? Like, I didn't think like somebody else could come in here and do this job better than that guy who was doing it. Now it's literally just like that. Somebody gets hurt, boom, we're putting this guy in that spot, and you're to like him just the same way that we like the last guy. Wait, what? We don't even know this guy. Why is he being put into this mid-card program out of left field? We know nothing about this person, and you're masking us to emotionally invest in someone we know nothing about. Yeah, that's how arrogant they are with this.
This whole thing is just very frustrating, and I don't know, man. I mean, if I had to pick a show to stop watching right now, I hate to say it, it would be SmackDown.
Bray was the best part about that show. I love Miz and Morrison though, so I'll keep watching for them. But seriously, Bray was the main thing on that show.
And Raw's not far behind. I mean, or Raw's not much better, rather. I mean, but I think about Wednesday nights, And even with NXT this week, NXT being such a lesser episode, we still had a lot of really good things to say about NXT in general.
NXT was better than tonight's SmackDown.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
It is almost every week. NXT is typically a really good show.
Speaking of which, let's have some unfounded speculation. The Tuesday after WrestleMania, NXT is going to be broadcasting live from Full Sail on a Tuesday. Now, they have not announced their plans for the show before WrestleMania weekend. Maybe Full Sail's unavailable, but people are speculating online, could WWE be budging due to the NXT competition with AEW on Wednesdays?
Budging what? Like switching their show to
Switching
Tuesday
their
nights?
No, they're just doing it that night because it's the weekend of WrestleMania. Because they'll have Thursday.
I said it was unfounded specation, Michael.
Well, I'm just trying to keep it in check here. Put some guardrails up, dude, right?
But, okay, so here's my other question. Matt, I don't know how we do this with actually, we got nothing going on Tuesday because we don't have a podcast Tuesday. Tuesday after Mania, tickets go on sale Monday morning. If I can get them, Matt, you want to go to that? Should I try and get a bunch?
To where?
To NXT at Full Sail the Tuesday after Mania.
Let me look something up really quick.
Yeah, it's the 7th.
April what?
April 7th. I was going to leave Tampa that morning, but I will delay my flight and leave that evening.
I'm game.
I'll see if I can get tickets. I will try Monday morning.
They're not charging for these tickets, right?
No. Well, they're like $10. You could pay me back $10. You can reimburse me for the cost.
I'll give it to you before you do it. Actually, give me your Venmo and I'll pay you.
Let me see if they're available. You know what we're gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bill it to Raj. It's work.
This is work.
It is work. But it'll be exciting to be there. The Tuesday after Mania. I think it'll be good. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania weekend. Now you've heard us talk about it. Obligatory plug. Rick's on the River. That Friday before Mania, the Wrestling Inc. meetup, Facebook.com/Wrestling Inc. to RSVP. I love that fans are making art for this. Have you seen some of the images going around?
I've seen some of the screenshots of like me and you.
Yeah, I'm just like
doing the gimmick print.
Yeah. Like, where do they find these photos? It's awesome though. No, I think it's going to be good, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm risking travel and coronavirus to come to WrestleMania to meet the Wrestling Inc. fans.
See how much he loves you guys?
Seriously.
I'm just driving down the street. I'm driving an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So I'd say I like you guys, where Glenn loves. I'm joking.
You like. That's good.
I follow them all back for the most part. I love these guys.
Yeah. Our fans are fantastic. Anything else, Michael?
Ratings for the week from NXT and AEW.
Oh, yeah. What were they?
No surprise here. AEW tops NXT again. But AEW actually went down this week for the go-home show. AEW settled in at 865,000 viewers, which was down from last week's 893,000.
Okay. How do you say it is the number? Like back in the day, they say, hey, Raw did a 4.3. Did you hear it?
It did a 0.30.
0.30?
Mm-hmm. That's typical for this day and age. Like in the 18 to 49 demographic, it's a 0.30.
I mean, I'm not. Again, I believe AEW's biggest fan. That said, Impact was destroying that number.
So, right, it was. And this is, again, the point that comes up a lot, which is SmackDown is the highest rated wrestling show of the week. Yeah, I mean, they usually draw a 2.5 million viewers. I don't have the rating in front of me for that.
Where does that break down to?
They usually have a 1.0.
What is it?
The SmackDown usually draws somewhere around a 1.0, and the
no,
yeah,
oh
no,
2.5 million does not equate to a 1.0.
It's 1.0. That's the share. So isn't it like the share of all TVs watching television at that moment? So if you actually think about how many things are on TV, and if you can capture 1% of that, that's actually pretty impressive. Still,
yeah, but I'm just. Again, not trying to be a jerk, but like Impact, we were doing A1 all the time.
Yeah.
Like for almost, I want to say a full year.
So John P saying tomorrow podcast. Yes.
Tomorrow,
can we talk about the pay-per-view tomorrow? Yes, we can. Everyone in the chat can't wait for Revolution. Tomorrow night.
Good chat room. Good fans.
Oh, it's going to be great. Buddy Barlow, Revolution is going to be insanely good. The storyline is going to be solid.
Dude, did you see the YouTube thing I posted on Twitter?
No, I have not watched that yet.
It was Jericho and Moxley, part 2 of their hype video.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. That was really good. They got Randy Couture in that and everything, showing Moxley how to get out of. They made that look so legitimate. I love how they made the Walls of Jericho look legitimate. And Randy Couture knew all the moves. Do you know what I mean? It adds such legitimacy to this. I'm being dead serious. I'm not trying to sound like a mark. I'm being serious. This really sold tickets. Oh my God. So much so if I make a tweet about something, it's because it really, really touched me. It really, really hit home with me or resonated big time. And I was in between meetings, just randomly scrolling through YouTube to kill about 5 minutes. And that came out and I was just like, holy, this is so good. This was so well done. And since then, after I got done with work today, I went through the rest of them. They're all really well done. They really did a good job producing those hype videos for tomorrow's Revolution. You guys, if you haven't seen it, go check them all out. They're all really good. Super well done. Like so very slick videoing as well.
Tomorrow night, me, Matt Morgan, we're watching it. We're billing it to Raj Giri. And then going to show up here with Raj after to talk
before we leave, because the fans enough of them are asking about it. I know we got to get going. So do I. Really quick, can we run down the card and give just our predictions?
Sure, absolutely. AEW Revolution. Let me open up the card. So an embarrassment of riches. Let's start with the tag team match. I think this is going to be on the kickoff show. SCU versus the Dark Order.
Dark Order has to have a win here.
Yeah.
Oh, if Matt Hardy shows up tomorrow.
And they've got to unveil the leader, right? It's got to happen tomorrow night at the pay-per-view.
They can tease it and wait till Wednesday.
You got to wait for Hardy to be available.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've been under the suspicion that they might not go Hardy this route. That's been a tease. Okay. Somebody threw out there
Val Venus.
Val Venus. Yeah, that would be a real big twist.
Who are you guys picking?
No, I think Dark Order. I mean, look, SCU's fallen. Dark Order, but Dark Order's got to really dominate, right? They had those amazing promos, and then that started to get a little stale.
I think win the match. I agree.
I think this is what people forget in wrestling. I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but it's like we're talking about with Bray. Like, just because you did something to get over doesn't mean you're just going to stay over and coast on that forever. You got to constantly innovate.
Who are you picking, Michael?
So I think it's Dark Order. I love this. I think it's a little bit of rumor mongering, right? But Christopher Daniels as the leader of the Dark Order would be a great twist.
Sure, Fallen Angel. Like he's this type of,
He was the higher power at one point in 1999.
Yeah, he was.
Let's finally get payoff for that storyline.
Then I'm saving this for last because it's going to be the match of the night. But let's talk about Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander.
I don't like this for Statlander because Statlander, they're building, right, as this pretty badass baby face. But unfortunately, I can't see anybody beating Nyla. Nyla's awesome.
Yeah.
She's a great heel champion, man, and people got to be chasing her for quite a while.
Well, Statlander loses, but comes back later and he has the chase again when she's more established.
There you go.
So after that, and I think Nyla's going to win. They'll start Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara.
Man, has to be Darby. Darby definitely. Who do you got, Glenn?
Darby.
Who you got, Mike?
Guevara.
Ooh, good pick. Okay, there you go. A little controversial. What's next, Glenn?
Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes.
Ooh, this one's no. It's got to be Jake Hager, right?
Got it. Jake.
First match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and that would be great. I mean, Dustin will get sympathy. Jake will look down. I mean, yeah, it'll be awesome.
He's the muscle. He's got to win, right?
Yeah. Kenny Omega and Adam Page defending the tag team titles against the Young Bucks.
Young Bucks, new tag champs.
Bucks. Yeah.
The mega powers explode.
Mm-hmm. No, mega powers explode.
Yep.
I like it.
Okay. MJF with Wardlow versus Cody with Arn Anderson.
This one. I mean, it has to be. I mean, right? Does it have to be MJF, right, at this point? Because Cody's overcome everything.
Yeah.
Or no? Or is it a no finish? Because they don't like no finishes, though. So I don't know.
I think you do MJF. I think Cody's been high enough in recent months. Like, I think they're breaking him back down so they can rebuild him at some point in the future to be a champion. It's kind of been the impression I've gotten. So I think he loses.
Who you got, Glenn?
I think MJF. I think it'll take him to that next level.
And Michael, who did you say you have?
MJF.
Okay. Fans, remember these predictions.
In the championship match, Chris Jericho defending against Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship.
Jericho.
Whoa.
Right?
No.
That'd be a feel-good moment for Moxley, don't get me wrong, but right?
The time has come.
Isn't it?
No, but Moxley's
isn't the
character isn't over. Sorry.
Isn't the money match Cody versus Jericho eventually? Like maybe 6 months from now, 8 months from now, a year from now?
Who did you say, Jericho versus Cody?
Yeah.
I think you had that moment. I think Moxley is too hot right now, and I think it's like Jericho's been great. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take it off of him. You got to capture that moment when you get it. WWE never does it the right way. AEW will deliver. Moxley's your champion.
He's too entertaining for me, my personal taste. He's way too entertaining to me as champion. I got to keep him a champion.
Yeah. And the match of the night, the real main event, Pac versus Orange Cassidy.
Pac's gonna put her. No. Cassidy's gonna come out looking like friggin' $1 million. He's gonna do all these moves that no one's expected him to do, and he's gonna get this crazy reaction from everybody. But then Pac's gonna put him down at the end.
Yeah.
See,
Pac needs a win.
Yeah, but this could be the turning point for Orange Cassidy. This is the question: is he going to be comedy, or are they really going to do something?
He's never gonna stop that.
Yeah.
But the way you see how he does it on YouTube, he finds a way to start wrestling for real.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is though, like him getting a win could really take his career to the next stratosphere if they develop it. I don't know. We'll see.
And Matt's out.
Matt's out. Morgan out. Tomorrow night after AEW Revolution, me, Matt, Raj Giri will be here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Until then, he is at BP Matt Morgan. He is at The Real Wiseman. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein, and we will catch you back here tomorrow night to talk about AEW Revolution. Until then, take care.